Locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on this episode, the Bulls losing streak is over. Let's all take it. The Bulls beat the Cavs 117-104. We're breaking down that game right now on a fresh Locked on Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked on Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up, and welcome into Locked on Bulls, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host, Big Dave Watson, that guy waving at you. He is at BAWL Sports. We are at Locked on Bulls. You can also hit us up on that text to voicemail line 331-979-1369. Big Dave. Woo!
Hey,
Woo!
hey.
Monkey off the back, my friend. Monkey
Get out
off
of here.
the back.
Get
That is
out of here.
That is a big win, and a lot of the members of this Bulls team, shorthanded as they might be, played big roles in getting this win against a red-hot Cavs team that was coming in winning 5 straight. Let's start, though, with the newest welcome back guy, that being Alex Caruso. Big Dave, what did you see from him tonight? Because I have some thoughts, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
When he checked into that game with like 3 minutes and change left in the first quarter, I almost started crying tears of happiness. What about you?
It's so wild. And you know how some people say, Matt, you can't always look at a guy's stats, because it doesn't tell the whole story. And sometimes people say, oh, that's crap. Of course, you can look at their stats and tell if that means that they're good or not. You want to talk about that logic applying right here? That logic applies all the way right here. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. And I mean, you just look at it, you're like, okay, that's no big deal. This dude came in, Matt, and controlled everything from the offense to the defense. He had a hand in every single thing. In the third quarter, with him, it was offense. That's what he did. It was offense for him in the third quarter, what he did as far as the key 3-pointers that he hit, the passes inside that he was making. That pass he gave to Ayo on that cut was just a thing of beauty.
That cutting bounce pass down the lane, that was great.
It was special. Fourth quarter, it was that defense, man. He was everywhere. He was trying to take charges, getting deflections, moving defenders over and pushing them into other Bulls defenders so they could get that double team. You know what I'm saying? Calling out defenses, calling out their offenses that they were running so Bulls know exactly where to be in position. Everything goes up when Alex Caruso is on the floor for the Chicago Bulls. Everything goes up for them. He was just vitally important. I hope everybody saw the importance of Alex Caruso tonight because it goes far beyond that box score. And I'm going to get out the way and let my man Matt Peck have this one.
I mean, you speak of that box score and some modest numbers. He was just 2 of 8. Like he clearly had a rusty shot coming back in his first game action in a month, more than a month. But biggest number in his box score, a team best plus 18. There you go. In 23 minutes. Look, that stretch of minutes he played in the third quarter was insane because that is when the Bulls built back yet again another double-digit lead. The Cavs kept creeping around. But there was a stretch there, and I think it may have been 4 straight possessions or 4 plays of him in a stretch of 5 possessions where he had that driving little like scoop layup down the paint, like splitting 2 defenders. He knocked down that corner 3 that you mentioned, and on the other end, in between those possessions, he drew a charge on a Jarrett Allen screen in only the way that Caruso can. He's so good at selling that to the refs, and then he pulled the chair out on Kevin Love while he was guarding Kevin Love, who's a 1.5 feet taller than he is. And there is, boom, 2 turnovers forced by Alex Caruso. Big buckets in a momentum swinging part of the third quarter when the Bulls were taking control of this game. I mean, there was also, I mean, the Bulls didn't corral the loose ball, but that chase down block he had, I saw him coming down from half court after the Bulls had that, what it would have been a backcourt violation, but it was a scoop for the Cavs. I was like, Caruso's going to block this. Like, well before he rose up to block it, I was like, Caruso's going to block this. And of course he did. He was diving on the floor, all of that stuff. When you talk about his defense, Big David, you mentioned some of that kind of stuff. It elevates his teammates. The reason that we have seen this Bulls defense struggle, especially in transition, like you said, calling out plays that their opponent is running, calling out defensive assignments, calling out switches, Caruso's mere presence on the floor elevates that around him. And guess what? Coby White continued to play great defense tonight. DeMar DeRozan had some impeccable, timely help defense plays. Vooch had some timely plays on the defensive end. Caruso's out there, and his teammates are like, oh, crap, I got to try as hard as that guy does on defense. It matters.
It matters. He is important. And I just love it because he also, Matt, like you said, pulling the chair off from Kevin Love. Like, let's not forget, he was also guarding him. Like, it wasn't just a switch. That wasn't just a switch that happened. No, he was guarding Kevin Love. That's exactly what he was doing. He guarded everybody. If they put it on him, that's exactly who the person he was. He switches on anyone. And Billy Donovan has that kind of confidence in him that he could switch on anybody, no matter his size, because he knows how to play defense, and he's got this up here. He's got that IQ. He's got that thing up there in that noggin right there, ladies and gentlemen. And that goes a very, very long way when you're playing defense, and especially for this team, when you know that they're devoid of size. And so you can't just rely on that. You got to rely on that IQ, man. And Matt and I talked about this at length when they first got Alex Caruso and how important his IQ was going to be to this team. You're seeing it right there. That chase down block. You're right, Matt. That thing, I didn't have that same thought you had. As soon as that turnover happened, I saw him behind him. I was like, wait, is he going to catch this dude? I was like, I don't know if he's going to. Oh, my God. I was like, oh, my God. He caught him. Oh, man. I freaked out for a second, man. It was amazing to watch. Just seeing him get those plays, Matt, and then turn into the crowd, trying to get them into it. Like, he does all these things, you know what I'm saying? So he does the intangibles kind of stuff, you know? He's got that grittiness, you know, player who doesn't play a lot mentality, but he's also got the athleticism and skill of a true NBA basketball player to go along with that. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, he's trying hard, you know, grit stuff out here. Look at him diving on the floor, and that's all he's going to give you, but a bunch of fouls. No, he's also going to go down.
And they contract Knicks.
Yes. Tibbs can't help himself. He got to have it. He's got to have him, all right? He's going to sign a whole contract. Shout out to Archie for still being in this league, for real. But I'm telling you, man, like, the fact he can do all of that, plus go down on the other end and still score for you. You know what I'm saying? And not just lucky layups or lucky threes. No, he's skilled. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's also running the point guard. He's also bringing the ball up for you. He's also calling the plays for you. He's also telling everybody where they need to be. All of these things are so invaluable to this team. And you saw they were so necessary, especially in the last couple games that we were watching, Matt. We were like, you really saw where you missed Caruso. You know, not for all the things I just mentioned, not just defensively, but for all the things I just mentioned, man. He's invaluable, man.
He's that little connective tissue that holds a lot of stuff together. And then you take out that connective tissue and you're like, well, his body doesn't work properly at all. It's huge. You cannot overstate just how valuable he is to this team. And he immediately reminded you of that with 23 minutes off the bench. Donovan did say, we're going to keep him on a minutes limit here for this first game, maybe the first few games. Donovan said pregame 20 to 24. He played 23. We'll see if those minutes start to bump back up closer to that flirting with 30 minutes kind of stuff that Caruso saw earlier this season, because guess what? In the meantime, shorthanded as they are, tonight, DeRozan 36, Vooch 37, Coby 38, and the Rook Ayo 39. Heavy minutes, but you needed this W. Speaking of DeMar, let's talk about him next, because he was just back to doing DeMar things after a couple of subpar performances. That's on deck. But first, Big Dave, tell the people how they can have some fun while watching sports with a little thing called BetOnline.
Oh, you know what would make this game better? If you made some money on it. And the only way you can really do it and do it big is to go to BetOnline, because they are your number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for the 2022 year. So in this new year, with the new updated desktop, with that mobile website, head to any one of those things. Sign up today, receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use that promo code Locked On to get it started. Football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, your favorite Vegas casino games, and not just football, y'all. Playoff football. All right? Don't wait. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available to you and yours for the 2022 year. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager all of your favorite sports, ladies and gents. BetOnline, where the game starts. Sports. High note.
Moving along, breaking down this Bulls win over the Cavs Wednesday night. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us live on YouTube right now. Speaking of Caruso pulling that chair on Kevin Love, Fried Rice said, "Can't wait to see Giannis get his chair pulled on national TV." Woo! We're gonna see a little Caruso versus Giannis on Friday night. Maybe. But look, I think one of the reasons that the Bulls were struggling in this 4-game skid, and you and I talked about it after their loss on Monday, is like, are we asking too much of DeMar? Is there something DeMar should be doing differently? He seems just a little bit off. Not just that he's been missing his free throws recently, which is very unlike him. That continued tonight. I think he was 2 of 5 at the free throw line.
Yeah,
but even he just didn't seem to have that same level of rhythm shooting from the field, and maybe it's because he was trying too hard and trying to go against double teams and trying to be DeMar without Zach on the floor. And I think he was 17 of 44 from the floor over their last 2 games, both losses. Tonight, 14 of 24. After Coby carried the load in the first quarter, second quarter comes around, DeMar's like, okay, all right, I got this. What are you going to show me, Cavs? Because that was the brilliance of watching DeMar tonight that I saw, Big Dave. When DeMar had Cavs guards on him, he used his strength, and he got to the bucket, and he got easy ones. When he had Cavs bigs switched on him, he operated in that little between the paint and the three-point area that DeMar loves so much. A little stutter step here, a cross through step here, and got to his mid-range shots, and he knocked him down. It didn't matter if he had bigs on him or guards on him. DeMar was manipulating the crap out of that Cavs defense tonight.
Oh, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. So let me talk about this other side of what he did tonight. 7 assists to go with that 30 points. Because what he was also doing was realizing they were also throwing those double teams at him. And then they put in this new intricate zone, because, the Bulls have been struggling with zone and having issues with that. It's hard to be a zone now because Coby White's back, and it's a little hard to have a zone against something like that. When you got Coby White and the legend Matt Thomas out there doing his thing, baby. You saw him, Matt. You saw Matt Thomas.
13 minutes and 14 seconds in, we made it before Matt Thomas was mentioned by his biggest fan.
I had to sneak one in. But the 7 assists were so big, Matt, because they understand who he is. They know that he's the primary guy, and the Bulls like to use him as a primary ball handler, especially in the second half. They like to use him as that primary ball handler, especially in the fourth, for goodness sake. And so every time you saw him get that ball and they would try to run that double team at him, he knew exactly where everybody knew where to be, man. You can see the way they were spread out around the floor around him, man. He made it so easy for everybody. Ayo, and that's where his threes were coming from in that fourth quarter, was because DeMar DeRozan was finding him wide open in that corner. Like, oh, boom, there you go. Hit that. That's yours. Oh, boom, Vooch, you want a key 3 in that corner? Here you go. Hit that. That's yours. He was finding guys. Coby White, he found him also. When guys were cutting to the bucket, he was finding them that way, man. So it's not just he's killing you, like Matt so wonderfully broke down as far as the mid-range is concerned. He's also killing you with those assists. So you don't know what to do now. And that's what's going to make it more vicious when Zach gets back. Because if he's still running that and getting them assists, there's nothing you can be able to do to stop what's going to happen to you. It's special to watch, Matt. It really is.
And so shout out to our friends at 670 The Score. In case you missed it, my friend Big Dave here did a segment with the Parkins and Spiegel show this afternoon. And you guys were talking about this recent stretch of games from DeMar, and Danny was asking you about the ways in which DeMar's maybe gone a little too ISO at times recently, talking about, after the back-to-back buzzer beaters and everyone was just like, all hail DeMar, maybe we're seeing a little too much ISO DeMar as the Bulls have become more and more shorthanded, and he's feeling like he has to do more on a nightly basis. But that is the other good element to this, and that's what you brought up, is you also were starting to see this playmaking. I believe I saw on the broadcast tonight a little stat graphic that 6 or more assists for DeMar in 6 of the Bulls' last 11 games. He's kind of been flirting between 4 or 5 assists a night all season, but we saw what he did in San Antonio when Greg Popovich said, "Yet a point guard," and DeMar was like, "Okay," and he was averaging 6.9, essentially 7. He is now saying, okay, I pick my spots where I need to be the guy just scoring an ISO and getting to my spots to get the shots that I like. And he is seeing these areas and moments in the game where he can be distributor, DeMar. And no bigger moment of that variety than late in the fourth quarter when DeMar drew a triple team driving into the paint and then said, "Oh, hey, is that Vooch over here in the corner? Here you go." Man, it reminded me, Dave, of that win in Brooklyn when Lonzo had been ice cold all night and DeMar had been cooking, and DeMar draws a double team and then says, "Oh, Lonzo's wide open right there." Popped a 3. Yeah. Same thing that he said after Lonzo hit that. I got confidence in Vooch. Vooch was 0 of 4 from downtown before taking that shot. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about Vooch a little bit further in our next segment. But the fact that DeMar, in those moments, it's not just ISO DeMar, I got to shoot, I got to shoot, I got to shoot. No, he drew the double, he found his teammate, and he had the confidence to make the pass.
Yeah, and again, you're right. And shout out to Danny Parkins and everybody over there at the Score for having me on. For sure, that was fun. But yeah, that's why I said that. Like, yeah, I'm not worried about none of that. Like, that's cool. Like, having DeMar DeRozan, that kind of guy on your team that can score at will and also win you those kind of games, but at the same time can facilitate, Matt. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's just out there just, looking reckless. You know what I'm saying? Nothing looks reckless with him. Everything looks smart and controlled. He made one layup. I still don't know how he did it. I ran it on my DVR, and I still don't know how he did it because he went in on everybody who was tall. Everybody was bigger than him when he went in the paint, and he just took a Euro step to the right side and kind of did some weird move and flipped it in off the. I was like, I still don't know how that worked. And how did you do that? It was just incredible and impressive. And what you get to see, and you saw again, because as Danny brought up those difficult shots that he takes, you saw him hit one of those at the end of the third quarter. To end that third quarter, Matt, he took an incredibly difficult shot on Mobley.
That was stupid.
Oh, my goodness, man. Stupid. Went flying out of bounds when he took that shot, man. Went flying out. I thought he had a cape on. He went flying out of bounds when that happened. Cash money right into the bucket, man. He's amazing. Like, he's really, truly amazing to watch. And when he's on, it's really hard to beat this team. And you saw the rhythm of it come back. That's the thing that I thought had been missing, and you kind of just touched on these past 2 games, was the rhythm of his game. You know what I'm saying? Everything, like you said, seemed kind of forced. Then he was just kind of rushing and trying to make up for things. When that second quarter came, it felt like a rhythm was coming with him. Like, he was fit. Oh, okay, I like this. Okay, this is a good one right here. This is a good one right here. Oh, you got a big guy on me? Like you said, I know what to do. You got a little guy on me? Okay, I know what to do. And the Bulls team around him knew exactly what to do when they saw those switches. And I promise you that part of that was because of Caruso. Letting them know what the hell was going on, man. I'm just giving him that credit because I didn't see them doing that when he wasn't there. But it seems like for some reason when he was there, they knew exactly what to be, man. And DeMar DeRozan, he's a Martian. He's special, man. Special.
He is. And the Bulls needed him tonight. They need him to play like that until Zach gets back, until Lonzo gets back, until this team gets all the way healthy. But in the meantime, you need to find ways to win games. And the Bulls were able to do that tonight. So speaking of Vooch, let's just go ahead and get that part of the conversation out of the way.
Okay.
He was a menace in the post tonight, Big Dave.
He was.
Anytime he got fed the ball, he went to work down low and he was making all of some of the bunnies that he was just missing throughout this season when we've been frustrated with him on the offensive end. He had his post game cooking tonight.
Yeah.
Anything outside of the paint, no go. Wasn't falling. And I think not only do you got to give him credit for having the confidence to take that corner three when DeMar kicked it to him. I mean, you can't pass up that three. You are wide open. There's nobody on you. Shot clock's winding down. You got to take that. Doesn't matter if you're over 4. But there was another moment late in that fourth quarter when Vooch got a kick out to the top of the key where he had been missing all night. And he was wide open and could have taken a shot, but instead he did a little quick fake and then drove down to the paint. And then I think there was a pass or maybe 2 passes, and the Bulls got a bucket out of it. So smart recognition for Vooch. Top of the key three not falling. All right, let's go back inside where it has been working. So, like all season has been up and down for Vooch, tonight was up and down for Vooch. What were your thoughts on his game tonight, Dave?
Oh man. Honestly, I was pleased. I was happy with it.
It's hard to be angry at 24-12. I mean,
how can I be mad at this? Like, honestly, what do you want me to be mad at? I just honestly don't want to be mad.
He sucks. Get him out of here.
He was missing everything. He was trash. And then you look down. Oh, he was 11 of 21 and shot 52% from the field. Okay. Like with my definition of trash and other people's definition of trash is totally different. I promise you. What I like and what I've always liked about Vooch, Matt, is the myriad of ways he scores. So when that jump shot isn't working, and I'm not used to seeing him miss those easy shots. So them bunnies, like you say, I'm not used to seeing him miss those, man. But he was missing them. But usually when a guy, their main thing isn't working, they usually don't really have a second thing. I'm talking about big men. They usually don't have a second thing to go to. Vooch is like, oh yeah, I'm still 7 feet tall and huge. Oh yeah, I can still go down here and bang with these dudes. Let me do that. Hey, throw the ball down here. Let me go get these buckets. When he had 16 points at that point in time in that 14 of those 16 were in the paint. 14. And the other ones that he had were just really around the paint. You know what I'm saying? They were around the painted area. You know what I'm saying? They weren't just like long jump shots or nothing. So he understood what it was that he was scoring. He was getting putbacks. He was using his footwork, getting those spin moves inside. Like you said, Matt, that was the second pump fake he did. He did a pump fake in that first quarter when he pumped it from the 3-point line, went in and dunked that joint. So, he had a game. Filthy. Here's the other thing I like is like you talked about, that fourth quarter, when he hit that 3 from the baseline. Honestly, I saw that weight get lifted off him in that fourth. When they hit that 3, you saw it flew. You come off because what happened?
Exercise demons.
This house is clear.
It's clear.
Loser.
Get him out of here.
But dude.
All right, we're done analyzing the Bulls win. We're just going to quote Ace Ventura for the last 10 minutes. Everybody cool with that?
You know we're going to quote some Jim Carrey. This is going to happen. All right, it's going to happen. Happy belated birthday also to Jim Carrey.
Big 6-0, Jim Carrey. Shout out.
Man. Awesome, man. But Vooch, man, after he hits this baseline 3, what's the next thing that happens? What's the very next thing that happens? He goes down and he swats the shot when it comes inside.
Huge
through
block.
That joint, through that block. His defense is always predicated on his offense, y'all. So once that weight got lifted, oh man, my feet feel good now. Oh snap, I can block this. He scored 8 of the next 9 points for the Chicago Bulls. He scored that last 8 of 9 was Vooch, and the other one was an Ayo free throw on that clear path. That was the only other point. And did you see that 3 that he was missing 0 for 4? Or when he took that joint in the fourth quarter, Matt, after hitting that 3? Pure. It was pure. It didn't touch nothing but the nylon when it went in, man, because it feels good when you could get that weight off of him. He knows that he was scoring inside. He gets that. But Vooch likes the 3, and it's an important part of his game when you've been shooting 40% or close to it for your career. You don't want to lose that. So for him to get that back and at a key pivotal moment, Matt, that was a huge 3. That was the game. He hit that 3. That was it.
That was the nail.
That was the nail right there in the coffin. And then he threw a couple more in just to make sure you weren't coming out of there. So, yeah, I enjoyed the game tonight, and that's what your star is supposed to do, find ways to score.
People in the YouTube comments, Colin saying Vooch needs to be Sherman Williams, all about that paint. And,
clever. Clever.
turn the page saying the road to that 50% shooting from the field goes through the paint. Vooch, start inside, maybe work your way outside. But it's good to see Vooch have a game like that after 2 of 13 on Monday. And again, I know some Bulls fans out there are not willing to be patient with this Jekyll and Hyde Vooch that we have. We got the good version tonight. Hopefully, he can build on that. And I'm not saying that I'm convinced that he will, but Big Dave, you've said it time and again, this team is going to need him. They are going to need him if they want to be real contenders making a playoff run this season. And they certainly need him while Zach is out.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, so that's it for the Vooch part of the show. Big Dave, who do you want to talk about first? We're gonna touch on both of them. Ayo, Coby, Ayo, Coby, Ayo. The interim starting backcourt of the Eastern Conference, ladies and gentlemen.
Fire and ice. Fire and ice, man. That's what it is. I love it. Let's start with the fire. Let's start with Coby, man. We'll start with the fire.
Ooh, how about that first quarter from Coby?
Yeah, man. What a special thing that was when Coby White is looking good and on point. Man, he just looks so different. He looks so confident out there now. The way he shoots, it's an NBA look. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just an NBA look now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not shocked anymore. When it goes in, like it's like how Lonzo shoots now. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see Lonzo shoot, how he changed his shot. Coby didn't shoot like this. His form is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? And maybe more a lot of that is just the confidence that he shoots with. But they don't win this game without him, man, because he started it off for the Chicago Bulls, man. And I mean, from the outside to the inside, you saw it. The patience of Coby White that he plays with now. And he's so under control right now when he's going to the bucket. The way he did a play, Matt, where he got the ball, where I'm used to seeing him trip and fall on his face or just throw it up and get it blocked or do something crazy with it. I watched him go slowly but fast, right? He was going slow because I'm watching him think. He stopped. He took 2 power dribbles. Boom, boom, jump step inside, lay in with the left. It was beautiful. I was like, yes, Coby White. Yes, more of this. This is what I'd like to see. This is what I talked about, Bulls fans. This is why I kept trying to tell y'all he's not trash when everybody was trying to tell me he was trash 3 games into him starting and getting in here. He's a done deal. No, he is not trash. The dude can play basketball. And now it's magnified because he is of vital importance right now. When you got Zach out, when you got Zoe out, you go ahead and you put your fire in, and he's playing under control, man. And he's playing under control for a couple reasons. One of them is definitely Mo Cheeks and Billy Donovan, but the other is that ice that's right next to him, man.
And we'll get to that ice in a minute, but just a couple of thoughts from me on Coby. Not only is he shooting confidently, but I am continuing to be impressed by, you've been impressed by his defense, and that's what you've been really focusing on this season, and I'm right there with you. What I have been focusing on with Coby since he came back from injury and then COVID, finishing at the rim. I think he had one that rimmed out a little unlucky tonight, but overall, tonight, he started attacking the basket. In this recent stretch of strong games, he's attacking the basket, but not just attacking the basket, because he would attack the basket as a rookie, and he would attack the basket last year. Finishing. I don't know what it is specifically that he's been working on with Mo Cheeks and what he's been telling him. Casey Johnson had a sideline report about it, that he's even been watching game tape about English and how to finish, where to hit it on the backboard, where to aim it on the rim, depending on where you are around the rim when you're going up, shielding, using your body to shield if you got a big contesting the shot, all of that stuff. Coby's finishing at the rim is so much better, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And in case you're curious, the numbers back that up. We've also talked about that little floater that Coby's got going.
Yeah.
So here are his shooting percentages by season from 3 to 10 feet, okay? Rookie season, 32%. Second season, 34.5%. This season, 3 to 10 feet, 41%. Huge jumps. Now, you ready for this? 0 to 3 feet, a.k.a. at the rim. Coby White, rookie year, 52.9%. Not terrible, but you're at the rim. Second season, 55.8. Nice little jump there. This season, 66.7%, 0 to 3 feet.
Wow.
The numbers back up the eye test. Coby White is a weapon at the rim now. Give the young man some credit.
Give him his due, y'all. Like, for real, give that young man his credit. And again, you're gonna need him. He is going to be hugely important, especially now with the injuries. But I'm telling you, it's hard to run a zone against a guy who can shoot like that. It's very difficult. They tried that zone because I remember, Matt, when they were trying that zone earlier in the season, it was working because they didn't have any shooters out there that could shoot you out of it. No. Didn't work this time because now you got Coby out there, man, who will shoot you right up out that zone, man. And we'll go to that bucket and finish at the rim. Oh, it's great to watch. Honestly, it's really great to see. I'm very happy for him.
Will Keys on YouTube simply saying Sub-Zero is the fact. Hard to argue that right now. Jock on YouTube saying, I hope when Zach comes back, Ayo still gets good minutes because he's definitely proved himself as a dependable rotational piece. Big Dave, I don't know if you saw this. I think it was this morning. Mike Schmitz, who is the ESPN draft guru, right, for the NBA, he has been doing this regular top 10 rookie, class rankings this season. You know who just cracked his top 10 this week? Because it's Ayo. You got Mobley in there. You got, Scotty Barnes in there. All these rooks that are really impressing this season. But Coby, I'm sorry, but Ayo Dosunmu is catching people's eye, and he's doing it on both ends of the floor. We've talked about all these big-name players who are his defensive assignments in this recent stretch of games that the Bulls have had. And all the while, Billy Donovan's like, okay, well, we don't have Zach. We don't got Lonzo. DeMar's going to handle some, ball handling duties, of course, because he can do that for us. But Ayo, Coby, right now, we need you guys to initiate some offense.
Yes.
Ayo had 8 assists tonight. Woo. 1 turnover. Woo. The other night he had 10 assists, 1 turnover. Wait, what? I'm just running out of ways to express how impressed I am with this young guy.
He is so freaking impressive, man. Like, you're right. Like, you just become speechless when you watch him because it doesn't make basketball logical sense in the sense of what we've always been taught of rookies supposed to look like, especially a second round rookie, especially one that's coming in off the bench, especially one who wasn't even playing the point guard position. He wasn't. They had him running at the
U of I, but certainly not.
No. I'm talking about here. Yeah. No, I'm talking about here in the league. They have him coming off. He was playing the off guard, and he was playing the 3. He wasn't playing the point guard position at all. They had Caruso there. They had Lonzo there. He wasn't running the point guard position. Now you just bring him in the starting lineup, and you're like, okay, yeah. On top of that, I'm gonna need you to run everything, okay? And I'm gonna need you to guard the best player out there too. Can you you got that? And he's like, okay. He's like, I got it. He was out there against Garland. Garland was 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was in his jersey early on, man. Like, it just had to be annoying. You know what I'm saying? Playing against a dude like this. And Garland finished, I believe, with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists, if I'm not mistaken. Ayo goes in, and finishes with 18 and 8. And I don't remember how many rebounds he had, but he finished with about 18 and 8. And so, for real, that's kind of matching that output that point guard is putting out there. Right. And also
3 boards. So two shy of Darius, but yeah.
3 boards. But also, Matt, it's also the key buckets he was hitting. The 3-pointer.
That corner 3 when the Bulls needed a bucket. The Cavs had cut the lead down to 1 or 2.
Yes.
Woo, huge 3.
He hit so many of those what my boy Chris Ball on Bulls calls those timeout threes. He calls them those timeout threes. Ayo hits those timeout threes all the time. When you got it's just you're like you see him from the corner, you're like, oh yeah, there you go. It reminds you of like BJ Armstrong when how water BJ was from that baseline when he was shooting over there. That's what it reminds me of watching him play. But it's also the way he's playing that point guard position. Man, some of them passes was just vicious that he was having out there. Even the one that they called the clear path foul on, and the way he tossed it over to Coby White like that.
Right.
Man. I loved it, man. He's just been amazing. I'm so glad he's here.
I mean, that you're right. Those timeout threes that he hits, he's shown the confidence to take and make those shots all season long. Shout out to Bleacher Nation Bulls. I always get a kick out of that Twitter account. Follow them if you aren't. They said Ayo Dosunmu is actually 32 years old, and no one can convince me otherwise because he plays with that kind of poise. He really does. And you mentioned the big dagger three that he hit when the Bulls really needed to stop the bleeding. The other favorite play of mine from Ayo tonight was also a late fourth quarter play, and it was one of those final stretch of points that you mentioned Vooch having. Ayo on a swing pass in that very same corner where he had hit a big three earlier in the fourth, saw he had an open look, but saw that a Cavs guy was coming to close out on him. He faked that shot where he had just drilled one, got that Cavs defender to leap past him, put the ball on the floor baseline, drove baseline, collapsed the defense, and just shoveled off this little behind-the-back pass to Vooch for an easy lay-in. Yes. I mean, not only the capability to make that play, athletically speaking, but the presence of mind, the intelligence, the basketball IQ for him to know he's closing out on me fast because I just drilled one from this exact same spot on the floor not 2 minutes ago. Right. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to pump. I'm going to drive. I'm going to get us an easy two at the basket. Just smart basketball. That's the word I always come back to with Ayo. Smart.
Yes, that's the word. And the two things I like that I really like out there, Matt, one is the relationship he's establishing with Vooch. That's one of the things I'm really enjoying. And you got to remember, he's used to playing with a dominant big in Kofi Cockburn in Illinois. He's used to playing with a dominant big. So he knows when he drives to the bucket exactly where that big is supposed to be. And Vooch is that dope that he's going to be in those spots and get those easy buckets, man. So he knows how to get him the ball and find him because he's always looking for him, man. And his speed, man, you forget how fast he is. Because once he make up his mind, he's going to the bucket. You're not going to stop him. Because not only does he have that speed, he's got the size also to go along with that. And oh my God, he's a great finisher around. The second thing I like, Matt, I'm telling you, man, that relationship with him and Coby White is coming along quite nicely. Okay, right. It's coming
Doesn't
along
it make you
quite
think
nicely.
Twice about trading Coby and some of these trade machines before that deadline?
Little bit, Bulls fans, little bit. And you see why that they're kind of high on Coby. Like you see it because this is the work they put in on him. You know what I'm saying? To get him to this point right here. I'm telling you, it's going to be a game this season where Coby just goes insane. He drops like 30-something. It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. He's going to go crazy. But him and Ayo, that's the thing I wanted to see was both of those guys establishing their relationship and finding out, where they like to be on the floor. Because Ayo is going to be the one to find Coby, more so than Coby is going to be to find Ayo. But that's the great thing about Ayo is Ayo can also play off the ball because Ayo knows how to cut and make it easy for you to get that ball there. And Coby White can find you if you cutting. He'll get you the basketball. Ayo will find you just because he's a great point guard. You know what I'm saying? He's a really good point guard, so he'll find you that way. But they're figuring each other out, and they're understanding what each other likes to do, man. And it's that fire and ice, Matt. That's really what it is. It's that fire and ice, man. And it's really looking good.
Before we get out of here real quick, hey, Lauri. Really, pal? How many times on this very podcast did I try to have your back? It's not your fault. It's not at least all the way your fault. It's definitely at least some part whose fault.
Yes.
Defended him, and ran out of reasons and ways to defend him. And sometimes you just a player needs a fresh start. You've been saying that about Gafford over there in Washington. We hope nothing but the best for him and for Lauri. But do you really have to have a season high 28 and knock down 5 threes and get points inside like you never did for us when you're playing us? Come on, Lauri. I thought we were friends.
I wasn't surprised. Man, I said it on the show that I thought he was going to have that big game because this was like his first one back at the UC. You thought it was going to happen, and it did. And now he probably won't have that game ever again all season. Probably, at least that's from the Lauri I know. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lauri I know, it doesn't exist anymore. But maybe it'll continue on, man. But he did everything, like you said, that we have been crying for him to do. When he took that dude, I watched him walk dudes down to the post. I was like, I got up, and I got up out my seat. All right, I was like, I was like, really?
Done.
We doing this now?
I can't
Really?
watch this.
Oh my God, man. I was like, he walked it. Like, I just remember him just camping out 3 points. All he did was camp out 3-point line and chill. Not this time, man. He's figuring some stuff out. So good for him. Good for him doing that. I'm glad he played well, and I'm glad that they lost.
Well said. All right, that's going to do it for now. We'll be back to preview Bulls Bucks for our Friday episode. Bulls Bucks, the first meeting between these two teams in Milwaukee Friday night. That's the start of a 3-game trip for the Bulls. Sad news there. Zach and Lonzo, they're staying behind. They're staying home, not on the road trip. So they will be without Zach and Lonzo for at least 3 more games. But the Bucks, the Nets, the Heat all won tonight, as well as the Bulls. So big win for the Bulls to keep pace atop that very tight Eastern Conference standings right now. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter. As always, I'm at Bulls_Peck. He's at Bow, BAWL Sports. We are at Locked On Bulls. The text and voicemail line 331-979-1369. Email lockedonbulls@gmail.com. That's where you can send your screenshots to enter for your chance to win that autographed Lonzo Ball 16x20 photo. That's right. Giveaway time, baby.
Yeah,
Until
baby.
tomorrow. Dave, Big Dave, Matt, C-Red, be good.